name's Julian Kwan. I'm CEO and co-founder of IXSwap. IXSwap is the Uniswap for RWA. So what we built is a platform that allows anyone with an RWA to start a legal and compliant liquidity pool. So we have a launch pad and we have a DEX. The opportunity is that in crypto, we've seen north of 25 billion raised on IDO platforms, and we've seen north of $1 trillion traded on DEXs, but it was all for cryptocurrency. And now that we have a new asset class coming to the industry, the real world asset tokens, which are a lot of them are securities, none of those platforms can offer these types of assets. So what we did starting 3 years ago is actually our team was this is my 7th startup, and our team was the first RWA builders in Asia back in 2018. We started when the industry used to be called security tokens. The one value proposition of security tokens industry back in the day was liquidity for the good assets, but there was no liquidity. There was no market making. So we looked at the innovations of Uniswap, and if you go back to sort of 2017, we have the launchpad and the DEX. I can't play the demos here because we're only doing this for a couple of minutes. But if you go back to the history of the DEX market, oh, sorry, I've got a few too many slides here. But if you go back to the history of the development of the AMM model, you had in 2018, you had the top 5-10 cryptocurrencies trading on Binance and Coinbase, who had a lot of liquidity and lots of money, and you had thousands and thousands of altcoins that had no liquidity sitting on the DEXs. And at the time, there was no solution for liquidity. So along came the automated market making model, which Uniswap became the most successful of, and it allowed anyone with a cryptocurrency to start their own liquidity pool. So we looked at the STO RWA space all the way from 2018 to 2021, 2022. And still today, up until today, there was no market making solution. So what we've been able to do is get a retail license to allow anyone with a simple photo ID KYC to log onto the platform and buy a real world asset token, which could be equity, it could be debt, could be startups, could be anything. So we've built a UX UI that looks and feels exactly like Uniswap, because that's what the crypto industry, the decentralized finance industry is used to. It's a very simple model. We list assets, we have capital raising fees on the primary, and we have trading fees as well. And just like Uniswap, we have a token, and the token itself is the revenues generated on the platform is split between the platform and the token itself. And then we burn a certain portion of the IXS treasury, which we have as we go along. So we've got some pretty impressive metrics. Our sister platform, InvestorX, is also focused on real world asset tokens. That's licensed in Singapore with a broker dealer and an exchange license. So we have 2 platforms. InvestorX is really focused on accredited investors, and IXSwap allows all investors, including all the retail investors. What's interesting about the marketplace as well is that most real world asset platforms, you can't buy those assets as a retail investor. Most of them are for accredited investors only. We've already launched a couple of projects. This was a startup, and we can see already, the real world assets on our platforms are starting to look and feel like cryptocurrency. So we're launching real world assets in the same DNA that ICOs are launched. It influences airdrops of RWA. No one on the planet's ever done this before, where if you stake the IXS cryptocurrency, you actually get airdropped RWA. And we've been able to stitch up every single license needed in the space. Securities licenses, accredited investors, retail license, cryptocurrency, exchange licenses. It's taken about 5.5 years to put all this together. And what's interesting when you see the platforms out there now, IDO platforms are great, can't do real world assets. Real world asset products are great. They don't allow retail investors. DEXs are great. They're not licensed to trade securities, and we can do the whole thing.
Please note you have about 30 seconds left.
Sure. Yeah, so great team across sort of TradFi, DeFi. We need all kinds of brain power. We're actually backed by Coinbase and other high quality investors. We've started a new equity round. It's being co-led by UOB Bank Ventures, one of the biggest banks in Singapore. and faculty group. And yeah, that's the end of it. I think we made it just in time. Thanks for having us on.
Right on time indeed, and congratulations for having such great investors on board. Let's see if we have any questions from our judges. Yes, I have a question coming up from Kostiantin from DevPro. How do you enforce compliance over different jurisdictions?
Yeah, so the simple KYC function on IXSwap means that any investors, we don't onboard Americans today, you just need a photo ID, and then you can buy and sell any assets on the platform. So the compliance, because the difference at Uniswap, it's two cryptocurrencies and smart contract. You have the pool, everyone can plug in and trade. The difference with IXSwap is to have a legal pool for real world asset tokens that are securities and a legal trade, it's got to run through a custody and a broker dealer license. So we've plugged that in the back end, but it means that the basic KYC that's done on the front end allows those users to buy and sell all the assets on the platform.
Thanks for clarifying. I see a few judges typing. In the meantime, I will cast a question. What are your incentive approaches to make sure that users engage with your company?
Well, the interesting thing about kind of the real world asset space today is that most of the assets are short-term debt products, but there's an entire new universe of assets in private equity and real estate. So there's a lot of issuance platforms around the world issuing real world asset tokens, but none of them have any secondary trading. Even the security token real world asset exchanges, they don't have any market makers yet. So IXSwap is built to market make all those assets. And how we see it is that everything's going to be tokenized. The super majority, 99.99% of RWAs are not exchange traded products, but they want some tradability. All of them can now start a liquidity pool on IXSwap. So it's built for the super majority of all the assets. So it provides that secondary trading liquidity that everyone's kind of looking for. If we can capture a decent part of the market, we think we can get the success that Uniswap got in the cryptocurrency market.
Understood. Well, get prepared. Many judges are typing. One coming up from Armand from Aurora. Is secondary market of these security assets a concern for you regarding compliance?
No, once again, like if you KYC on the platform, just a photo ID, it's all you need. You don't have to be accredited. You can be from anywhere in the world. That means that our broker dealer and custodian license, use that one KYC. So then that's it. So then you can go and buy and sell whatever you want. So it's the most simple KYC, as simple as it gets on a cryptocurrency exchange. And it's taken us probably 2.5+ years to get those licenses sorted.
Thanks for elaborating. We got a burning question coming up from Kostiantin again. Can you officially say that IXSwap tokens are securities? Are they registered anywhere?
IXSwap, the IXS token is our utility token, so it is not a security, but most of the RWAs on the platform actually are securities. So it's tokenizing shares of companies, or it's tokenizing shares of funds, or it's tokenizing shares of startups. So all the securities on the platform are registered somewhere around the world. We check that when we onboard the projects.
Understood. We have one more question from Wendy coming up from Bankwise. How do you handle due diligence for the onboarding of assets for trading?
Yeah, it's a great question. Anyone that's gone through any due diligence on a cryptocurrency exchange to put a token up now, it's something kind of similar. We have to onboard. Our job as regulated platforms, we have a DEX, but it also connects to licenses. We have to onboard the issuers. If they're issuing a real estate asset, we make sure that they're licensed to do so. If they don't need a license, that's fine. So our job is to make sure every asset on the platform has gone through a due diligence that meets the standards of a regulator. There's still investments. There's no guarantee that everything works out. So investors still have to take that risk like any investments. But that's the confidence and the security that we bring to platform and the investors to do that. We say no to a lot of the assets if we don't think they pass KYC and AML and just basic investor due diligence.
Thanks for clarifying. We're tight on time, but we can cast maybe one or two more. I see one coming up from Dima from Hacken. How do you ensure ongoing rights and obligations over tokenized assets that are or will be traded at your secondary market exchange?
Yeah, so whatever you buy, share of a company or a real estate fund, all of the rights, distributions or not, are outlined in the offering at the beginning, the primary, or it's available for anyone that buys in the secondary. So it's up to the issuers. So if I'm a real estate group and I'm doing dividends and incomes, it's up to them as the project owners to distribute all of that. And if you're a token holder, you get what was ever outlined in the deal, and all the deals are completely different.
Thank you so much for elaborating on that. Also, apologies to the judges. We're tight on time and we have to move on. Considering everything, Julian, you're building an amazing platform. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Our pleasure.